After the United Kingdom made some questionable decisions, the Queen had enough and decided to send Spiffing, which stands for Special Planetary Investigative Force for Inhabiting New Galaxies, into outer space to discover a new world for Britain to live out its days. And if there's any doubt that this is all a giant Brexit parody, well, they pretty much outright say it most times.
In a bygone era, we could have just stuffed a child down there to sort this out. That's why we voted out of the EU.
Her Majesty Spiffing is the most British game I've ever played, and that's coming from someone who knows a thing or two about being British. It's full of sarcastic, witty banter, and almost every single line of dialogue is self-aware and parodies the point-and-click genre as a whole. In fact, almost to a fault. There's one point where the game states,
"Right, the plan is, we head out, walk around aimlessly, look at a load of stuff eliciting a series of wry remarks, then start clicking everywhere until something happens."
And that's very much true. You'll mostly be going around one isolated ship, gradually building your inventory by trying to merge certain items with certain parts of the environment. Sometimes you'll physically merge two things together, or even rotate them around and discover a secret feature. Occasionally it's clever and delivers those "ah" moments, but a lot of the time it's more this.
I'm sure there's a more practical use for this. We'll agree to disagree about that. I think it would be best if I did something else with this.
Even with some tedious moments, the story really elevates and heightens the entire experience. Almost all of the jokes hit their mark, and as a whole, the writing is spiffing. The only real problem is not a whole lot really happens. You'll wander around a ship solving light puzzles, land on a small rock, do a few more puzzles, and then there's the credits! Wait, that's it? It feels like chapter 1 of a much larger game, and even with a lot of puzzle fumbling, my full playthrough came in at just under 2 hours. It's an enjoyable romp as it lasts, and even discovered a couple of alternate scenes and optional puzzles on a second playthrough, but the gameplay scenarios and story direction never change. They even bring attention to this at times, and that's okay. It tells a really funny, fixed narrative built around two very likeable, yet highly stereotypical characters. One being a smart Welsh companion named Aled, which is of course one of the most common Welsh names, and the other being the dimmer Captain English, your so-called average Brit. I do wonder if some of the jokes will fly over the heads of international audiences, as there's a lot of references to not only British culture, but British pop culture. There are broader references like the typewriter from Resident Evil and plenty of films, so for the most part I think it's something anyone can enjoy. And though the writing and acting stays consistently well done, the outdoor moments put on this distracting helmet filter that diminishes a lot of its quality. I'm all for realism and context, but it just wasn't all that functional here.
Look, boyo, over there,
Where?
by that rock.
Would it trouble you immensely to use another point of reference, Sub-Lieutenant Jones?
Fine, boyo.
As you spend the majority of your 2 hours in the rooms of this space shuttle, you start to become very familiar with your surroundings, so whenever you get a new item, chances are a few ideas enter your mind about exactly what to do with it. It creates a great sense of mastery, and because everything's so small, you'll easily memorize every room in the game. It's a double-edged sword though, as yes, it makes the player feel like they know the game inside and out, but it also makes the game feel just that bit smaller when everything you see and do is mostly within the same set of walls. There's a lot of potential to build upon this foundation. I love the characters and the story direction and even the tropey parody of point-and-click adventure games of old. It just doesn't really have any payoff, and it was all over just as I was starting to really like it. For all the detail, hidden jokes, Easter eggs and witty British humour is not a whole lot of substance. But they did do a great job porting it to Switch with sharp visuals and minimal slowdown, although I do find it a tad odd that the touch features from both the PC and mobile versions are absent when playing in handheld mode. The button inputs are fluid and work well, but more options would have gone a long way, especially as the mobile version is less than half the price. Her Majesty Spiffing is an enjoyable little episode, and although puzzles can often come down to just using every item in your inventory on every interactive object in the environment, it's pulled forward with an enjoyable script and great sense of progression, and for that reason I'm giving Your Majesty Spiffing a 6.5 out of 10. There's a lot of room for improvement, but I do want to see this franchise again. And thanks for watching everyone, catch you next time, bye.
I'll be on my way now, just as soon as I choose to exit this chair.